Her family was so worried that they went out and left. I went to put for her.
All right. All right. To make it make sense, family was so worried that they went out and looked for her. All right. Now, is it important to know about this walk that she was taking, like how she got lost or anything?
Just that because the sun said she lost the way because she was far into the woods.
Okay, so it's just because it's late in the day. All right.
A little troll with a poppy nose, little round eyes, little feet, round tummy, pink leotard, purple hair. Oops, forgot the eye. Purple hair, pink leotard, rose cheeks, and strawberry lips hopped along.
You know what I think is terrific in this? I love that word, poppy nose. I can see it, kind of like an orange red. That's a very good describing word instead of just saying a red nose.
Yeah.
Just 1 second, sweetie. You got the hang of it? Okay, I'll be back. Keep working on it. A little troll with poppy nose, little round eyes, little feet and tummy. Pink leotard. Now, this is the part that I was wondering about. Is this happening in the woods of Norway? I was wondering.
She was at the top of the mountain and her family lived, she was starting to become on the bottom of the mountain and her family lived on the top of the mountain.
All right, I can understand that, where she is, but my problem is the pink leotard. Do trolls wear these kind of clothes, do you think, up in the mountains?
Little troll, Denmark, and she was sort of like a new one.
Is she what?
She's sort of like a new little troll, Denmark, and she was her job, a kid, and her job was supposed to be going out at the nighttime to find other little kids.
To find little kids.
She was no.
But the pink leotard was, so you just want her to be dressed in a pink leotard even in Norway. Okay, purple hair. Now, are you thinking of these plastic kind of trolls, or do you think that the trolls in the folklore of Norway had purple hair? Maybe. What does their hair usually look like? Flat, or it's not natural curly?
Yeah, maybe.
Sometimes, or is it?
Curly hair.
I don't know if they have curly hair. Remember when we described those trolls? What does their hair usually look like? Flat, kind of maybe sticks out, doesn't it? I don't think they have curly hair. I think you want to get, because remember, even though it's a fairy tale, have to have a little bit realistic things when it comes to the legend of the trolls in Norway too. So the poppy nose is terrific. You might want to think about describing the hair a little differently.
Just brown.
Yeah, or you could even use a different word than brown. But you go back to that in a minute. That's the strawberry lips. That's another. See, those are two good words for red. Poppy, right? Okay.
She found them looking and looked too.
Okay, so this is a friendly troll. Then
It was a little troll.
she what?
It was a little troll.
She's a little troll. So she just happens to see this mother and father looking, and she just joins in with no problem at all.
Without even asking him, she went to surprise.
All right, she found them looking and looked too. All right.
Yeah, so what? She found her.
All right, now this is where I was wondering if you could add more. What do you think? Do you think, like, you've got this good description going, then guess what? She found her, and then she flew her to her parents. Like, how did she find her? Where was she?
Well, she was thinking, since she sometimes, she knew the family for a long time, but they didn't know her, and she knew that they were on the mountain, so she decided to look on the bottom because she probably wasn't going on the top. That's where they were looking, so she wanted to look on the bottom because they weren't looking.
So she was looking in the opposite place. Do you think you would need to tell us that? Give us a little description of where she found them. You can cut and tape that. And then, I didn't know trolls flew. Magic, that's where the magic comes in? All right, so could you lead us into that and let us know that this troll had a special magical power? She could fly? All right, and then how did she pick up this girl?
She finds her and tells her that she knows her parents where she is. And she says she's like a little troll Denver.
All right, could you get a piece of paper and cut and tape and add that to it? Because I think part of the story seems to be missing there, and you have such great adjectives. You wouldn't want it to sort of end so abruptly. All right, get some paper and cut and tape while I work with Tim a minute. We can't go to the computer today, honey, because it's too crowded. Hold on 1 second, all right?
Tall and straight.
Need to use our lips to change. All we have to do is hold up what we're working on. I'll see you tomorrow on that. That is a good troll there too. Okay, now you were reading the first half hour, all right? I know this is only your second day here, so it's third day here. I know. So Tim says now for the second half hour is when the children choose to write, all right? So you can keep working on your troll tale or write a letter to somebody.
Or she can read charts, right?
Meredith, would you show her where the letter paper is? We're not reading charts today.
No, right on my troll tail.
No, you can go to reading now, okay? Hold on 1 second while we get Tim back. Could we just give Tim his chair, and now that they're through with the listening center, you can use this.
There you are, Tim. Thank you.
All right, now, what do you want to say to me?
I saw her in the hall.
You saw Grandma in the halls, right? All right, and in a little while, would you read something to her? Do you have something prepared that you could read to her? What book do you have in your desk?
This one, that's hard.
All right, well then get one that maybe you could read to her. Mrs. Perrin will be coming in too. All right, this is another one. Did you open it up and try reading it first? This is one that one of the kids shared one day. I think this is one too you might want to have Mom read to you. Let's see what else is in there.
This one's good.
Remember what Mrs. Berry said would be a good idea to do when you choose a book, Tim? Take it and see. If there's 5 words on the page that are too hard, then you say to yourself, I better choose a different one. All right, try this. His name is Morris.
What?
My nephew a fairy tale.
Wanted candy. He went to the
Just a second.
store. Fish store.
He went to a fish store, but it doesn't say a fish store. He went to the... If you're buying candy, would you go to a fish store?
Candy store.
All right, so he went to the blank store. What word would make sense in that sentence? You got it.
Yeah, usually it says like once upon a time.
That's what happens.
Wrong.
Good for you. The wrong store. That's one of those words where you don't hear the W. I think by working hard at this, you could probably, Mrs. Perrin maybe will help you a little bit later too, okay? Or Grandma? All right? Okay, she's going to work with Justin and Deja for a few minutes though. All right, you try yourself and then you walk with them. You're reading another fairy tale? Did you try it first, Justin?
As you can see, it's bothering me, and I'm trying to.
All right, let's see what the problem is. Brian?
I was trying it out. I was conferencing with him for a couple of seconds, and then he comes on and he goes, "Well, this doesn't make sense in that."
Are you conferencing with him?
No, I'm conferencing with Ryan. No.
Brian, if someone's not conferencing with you, then you just tend to your own business.
Yeah, but, Ryan asked me, "Does that make sense?" And I said yes. And he thinks it does make sense.
He thinks it doesn't.
One day, Nick, one of the trolls got captured. So it just tells he got captured.
And that makes sense to you.
Yes, that makes sense.
But it doesn't make sense to you?
It's language and it makes sense.
Why doesn't it make sense to you?
Because when you say one day one of the trolls gets captured,
All right, let's start at the beginning of the story.
I
and help
think
her.
she should say one of the trolls named Nick gets captured.
Oh, so you think it sounds a little bit awkward with the language?
Dan comes over and
Well, let's see. Well, you know what would be a good idea for you to do, Lindsay? If you disagree with him, you might get a second opinion, like from Brian, all right? But, Brian, you should wait till she asks for it.
No, Ryan asked.
Right, I heard him, but maybe the author is the one that should be seeking out the advice, all right?
Okay.
All right. All right, if you want... All right, if you want to go ask him and maybe between the two of them, then you can come back and make your own decision.
Mrs. Rose, can I make a Venn diagram?
Mm-hmm. Do you know where go get a big piece of paper over here. This is good for the Venn diagram. Excuse me.
I changed my story a little bit.
That's all right. I'm going to give it to you even bigger than that. Well, is that big enough?
Yeah, sure.
If it's not, Dan, there's a great big piece here at the bottom. So you don't like that, or you do? You're the author if you think that's how you want it to start. I think that's an interesting way, because sometimes a book starts that way. Dan, if that's not big enough. It's probably hard to fit a lot of writing in there. That's why I suggest this bigger sheet. Try it on that. If maybe you can use part of Matt's desk. He's not. Put that paper in the recycling. All right, John and Lindsay. Where's Lindsay? And Ryan. Ryan, do you have your book out? And Lindsay, it's time for you two to be doing reading so I can conference with you. You wrote the first half hour, right?
Yeah.
Well, then you should have made a switch at the time of the bell. How about you?
I switched to writing. You said that I could do one.
Oh, because you were going to be last. I won't get to you till tomorrow. I'm looking for Johnny, too. Where did he? Oh, he went to the nurse. All right, Lindsay, it's up to you and me then. Johnny went to the nurse. But we've done that one together. What are you reading by yourself?
The Ugly Duckling. Oh, but myself.
Yeah.
I'm reading Ramona.
All right, Ramona. Let's conference with Ramona instead. Now, Ramona, is that a book that you've kind of been moving along slowly with, or have you been?
Sort of slowly, but because then I switched to the Ugly Duckling, then I had to work with that fast, and I'm not done with the Ugly Duckling yet, so then I have to do this.
All right, now you switched to the Ugly Duckling because I know I requested that you do that so we could make the comparison, but
Because I was on the
has this been put aside too long for you to really understand? Did you forget the story at all yet?
sort of.
Yeah, that's, you know how Mrs. Bears suggests that when we're into a chapter book, it's best to stick with it.
Yeah, I was really confused.
But you had to get into the other one. Did you think of taking this home and reading it maybe at night a little bit?
Book home, so I don't think I can take that one.
All right, well then let's go back to this one. Is it a story that you've enjoyed the beginning of?
Sort of.
All right, now,
Well, it's sort of boring, but
all right, that's okay if you think a story's boring, but you have to have a reason.
because like when I always read it, it's about this Ramona and her family. And it's like stuff going over again. She's in school, but stuff happens in school, and it's not really exciting.
So it's not exciting. Have you read other stories about Ramona?
Nope.
Oh, so this is just the first one, but you think
Well,
it's...
I think
so.
But you think it's boring because she's just doing ordinary things?
Yeah.
That's okay. Some people choose not to like a particular story because they want more excitement. But what about, what has happened to Ramona so far that's been kind of boring to you?
There was a kid on her bus, and she dropped her eraser, her new pink eraser, on the ground, and it slipped to the back because he was sitting behind her, and he was kicking the seat, and then he picked the eraser up, and she was like, "Where's my eraser?" And he's like, "Oh no!" And then she said, "Stop it," because he kept on kicking her seat, and then they got to school, and they went out for recess and everything. And
All right, so wait a minute. So they have this problem on the bus with this pink eraser.
yeah, and they have a problem outside.
Well, did you
So
ever have a problem on the bus?
Not really.
Nothing at all? Do you think that Beverly Cleary is trying to, though, just write a story about a typical 8-year-old that Ramona is, that sometimes you have these little conflicts with kids on the bus?
No, not really.
Nothing like that would ever happen, you don't think, on your bus? No? What else has happened to Ramona?
She went out for recess and they got into a fight because
Now, who's they?
Ramona and I forgot his name. The boy that was kicking her seat, and he was playing catch with the eraser outside with his other friend, and Ramona had said, "Hey, stop!" So
Could you
she
talk
started
slower so I can understand?
chasing him, and then like when Ramona, she made up a name for him, Yard Ape, and
She made up a yard name?
just a name,
Oh, a name?
like a nickname,
Yeah, what does she call him?
Yard Ape.
What did she call him?
Yard Ape, I think.
Yard ape?
I think
Is that what you
so.
said? What, because maybe in the schoolyard, you mean, she gets that
Wait, I
name?
think-
She's kind of upset with him? All right, yard ape. All right, so she's not too pleased with him,
No.
Did you ever have anybody in our schoolyard make up names and call kids a name?
Not really.
Northville kids don't do that?
I don't know.
Did you ever have,
Like Rebecca, and she doesn't call anybody names.
but have you ever had any problems on our playground? Do any kids ever have a problem on the playground?
Lots of people.
Maybe with something like that, taking up somebody's particular toy or something like the eraser, some of their school things. It could happen. Excuse me, Tim, while I'm talking with Lindsay. I'll be back with you in a minute, all right?
There.
All right, let's get back to Ramona. Now, so she's got the school bus problem, which could happen on a typical school bus. Playground problem.
And now she got to lunch, and now she said in the beginning of the story, "Mom, can you give me a hard-boiled egg?" She ate all of her sandwich and everything, and then she was gonna break the egg open, but it wasn't a hard-boiled. There was all this yolk in it.
Oh, it
and
wasn't.
It got all in her hair and everything, so she had to go to the office.
Now, what about Ramona? What kind of a person is she? Would you like her to be your friend, really?
No.
No? Why? What is it that you don't like about her?
Well, sort of, because she always gets into trouble, and then, like when the teacher said her friend to walk her down the hall, she said, "Don't hold my hand, I'm not a baby." So she got really mad.
But so far you're not that fond of her, huh? The way she acts. It seems to me you've remembered quite a bit of the story. Would you like to read a little bit of it to me? Maybe if you got back into it, you'd be eager to finish it? Well, not today you couldn't, but she is kind of a funny character, and there's a lot of neat stories about her. Maybe if you got to know her a little bit, you might want to read more about her, but maybe not, and that would be your choice. Why don't
I
you?
don't because they're too long of a book.
All right, now that's another good
It's
thing.
like has
All right.
300.
So is it really maybe not Ramona, but maybe you're choosing a book that is a little too overwhelming for you right now? All right. Would you rather then, instead of, I don't want you not to be excited about reading. And if you pick a book that's a little bit too much for you right now, if you like the story, take it home and maybe you could read it side by side with Mom or Dad. If you'd rather not, what sometimes kids do is put it back on the rack for a while. Maybe by the time we get to May or June, you'll be ready for it a little bit more. All right? Have you read any of the Clyde Buller books? They're on the same rack as Beverly Cleary books, and I'll tell you, a lot of the kids have liked them. Ask you might want to talk to Andrew. Andrew has read several that he likes. I'm thinking, I'm not sure. Sarah, have you read any Clyde Buller books? No, but you know who else has? Brian has. I think, Dan, haven't you read some Clyde Buller books? All right, maybe you could get some suggestions from them. You know those books there? But there's a variety of types, and they're not as overwhelming. Why don't you go over there and explore that for a while, all right? Put Beverly Cleary's Ramona back, and maybe you can try it again. You can try it again in another couple months. Wait a minute, what did the nurse say?
That I don't have to hang on to it, but she said, like, she puts, like, yellow stuff on it, and
For your gums.
Yeah, and she said, I don't think that's gonna help because I got this, like, blister in my...
Oh, you do have a blister in there. So you maybe have a little blister on your gum. She probably put some, like, Ambisol on there to soothe it.
Yeah, she said it might not work because she has an old bottle of it. Like,
So
like
what you
last
can do
January.
is, when you get home tonight,
I have CCD.
you have CCD, and it bothers you so much. You think you can stand it through CCD? Well, is Mom home today? Maybe I could call her during lunchtime and tell her about it. But you want to stay for the whole school day, don't you? Because Mrs. Stewart's coming in with all her special things about Norway today, this afternoon.
I want to stay for the
Because, you know, when you get one of those gum things, there's not much you can do about it for a while until, you know, Mom rubs some more stuff on it.
She has a lot of stuff that's helped blisters.
All right. Think you can wait till 3 o'clock? All right, what I'll do is I'll call her and see if she can pick you up instead of you going on the CCD bus. All right.
Mrs. Bears, it's really hard to do it between those two books because it seems like it's just the same book.
Well, let's see.
I learned everything, and there's nothing that's different.
Hold on.
I learned something different, but everything's the same.
All right, you've got Puss in Boots.
Yeah, and Puss in Boots.
All right, but who's this one? Is retold by Susan Saunders, and this one, what do you have here? That's Susan Saunders' one.
And then it says right here.
Yeah, follow-up activity.
It's like
And this one is Charles Perrault's this one was translated by Malcolm Arthur, okay, which is, now you've read both books.
yeah, and then the boy is going to eat
Boy,
Oh.
what is this? Oh, Boy Who Is Going to Eat Puss. It happens in both books.
and it says, I'll make you rich, just do it.
All right. Well, why don't you start from the beginning? Did you read both books carefully?
Yeah.
I see one thing that is different in them, even if it doesn't have anything to do with the story. Is there anything remarkable about the illustrations, different one from the other? Not really? You think they're almost the same? Well, try this to help you know the difference. This is what sometimes when I'm comparing two stories, if I have forgotten certain things, reread a couple of pages from this book. Just a second, Lindsay. Then reread just a couple of the first pages of that book and see if there might be a little difference in the way the author starts it, especially the one that's retold should be a little bit different
It
from
says,
this.
like, once there was a very old miller with 3 young sons, and Miller had
three sons. When he died, he left them nothing but his mill.
When I died, Miller
Told them, as everyone must. I will have only 3 things to leave you: my mill, my donkey, and my puss or my cat. Okay, so the same thing that happens in both is the miller leaves his cat, his donkey, and his mill. All right, and then what you could do is go on again. Maybe there is not a lot of difference. Maybe Susan Saunders is retelling it practically exactly like Charles Perrault wrote it in French. And you might find that out. But what you have to do is kind of go a little bit at a time, little by little. It takes a while, but you've got a good start here. So why don't you start by putting the miller left, those three things, to his sons, and then go on and read a little bit more, and see if you can find any differences or anything else that's quite the same. All right, this could take you a couple days. Don't worry about it.
I didn't really like any of those books, so can I go up and pick something?
You mean yeah, maybe a tale from the library. Now, what's up?
This one he went into a real bad.
Huh?
This one he went into the wall bad.
Did you read all that much yourself so far? And you didn't have trouble reading it?
I had one word.
All right, so tell me about the moose.
The moose so far, he went to he went to the candy store and he asked for gumdrops, and then he didn't know how to count. So he said 4, and there's 6.
Uh-huh.
And then
Does he get in trouble for that? They are 1 for a penny of 6 pennies. All right. Hold on. I misunderstood what you said there, though. He asks for 4. Oh, I say. And the man says, don't you know how to count? And so the man shows him how to count. What do you think the moose is going to want to do when he doesn't know how to count?
count.
You think he's going to want to learn it? Where do you suppose he's going to want to learn that?
School.
You think that's how he's going to end up in school? Because he's, first of all, what couldn't he do in the first part of this story?
Learn how to count.
Count, but remember when he wanted the candy? Where did he go first?
To the fish store so he could go to the candy store.
Yeah, why did he go to the fish store? What?
He didn't know how to read.
He didn't know how to read. He doesn't know how to
But this
count.
one says, Morris the Moose. Goes to school.
All right, so that's maybe why. Okay, that's why
And then
he goes and he gets there.
And then the man says, here's Morris, the moose.
Uh-huh.
And then he had his mouth full of 6 gumdrops.
How do you suppose Morris felt when he couldn't do all these things? When he couldn't read?
Happy.
No, before. When he couldn't read and he couldn't count. How do you think he's sad? Why would somebody feel sad if they couldn't read or count?
Because some people know how to do it, but he couldn't.
And he couldn't. What do you suppose reading and counting does for people, though, too? How does it
Help
make
them,
Yeah, how does that help their life?
because so they don't go to the wrong store and ask for gumdrops.
Mm-hmm. You need to read when you need something to be helpful for you. What other reasons would you want to read?
In case you have to read like a sign or something.
All right.